How's it going, Plant Heroes? Plant Hero Call here today with two book reviews. Recently been gifted to me is Wild Interiors by Hilton Carter, and then Urban Jungle, Living and Styling with Plants. And this one's by two different authors, but you can kind of see here the Urban Jungle bloggers Instagram put all this, compiled it together. I think Hilton Carter did something similar where they go to people's houses, take inspiration from them, and give it to us so that maybe we can use for some sort of project we want to do, put some plants in our home, and see really what works in their spaces and what might work in yours. So I think I'm almost ready to dive in. I bookmarked a couple pages for us. Definitely going to need some coffee for this though, so let's brew up a cup, settle down with these books, and we'll be right back. Okay, that's much better. Now, no one down on me for using Keurigs, because at home I do pour over, but when you're on the go or just need that quick fix, Keurig's the way to go. So, without further ado, without further ado, here are the two books, and just for fun, this present. If you know any plant lovers in your life and want an awesome present, along with the Wild Interiors book, I also got these Plant Daddy socks, which are awesome. Dope. Perfect for me, because I can rep to everyone how much I love the plants. Anyway, put those aside, and let's start off with the Urban Jungle book, because that's the one that I got first. So, Wild Interiors going off to the side. First off, Urban Jungle's, like, would you just look at this cover? It is beautiful. Both of these would definitely be considered coffee table books, in my opinion. Just great to have, great to look through. But for me, I mean, I'm going to take some design principles from it and try and incorporate them in future designs. But I'm going to try not to read through the books too much and spoil all the juicy details, but I'm going to take you through some of my main little takeaways and things that really grabbed me that might help you make the decision if you do want to get something like this or not. First off, the illustrations, full page, are beautiful. What they do in both of them is dive into each person's space and do a little conversation with them, kind of give you a little bit of what they consider their vibe and why they made some of the choices they made. There's a couple pages. We're gonna jump to my first one, which is, they have a lot of these cool idea pieces in here. And this one was just using old coffee mugs or anything as some different kind of container. And another one in here, they've done a really good job of varying the container choices. So you'll be able to see many different types of containers and types of plants used in here that are all working together and adding variety. Here's another page I marked, hanging planters. So this will show you how to make your own macrame plant hangers. You can use actual thread, wire, anything like that, or I think they even use shoelaces. So the world's your oyster on that one. They kind of separated out based on the types of plants. So here we have cactus. They go through everything towards succulents, palms, ferns, everything like that. So if you have a specific like or plant you want to be using, you could dive to that section and really dig deeper. Here's one of the pages on succulents that I found pretty cool, and a lot of people have asked me, you know, can I propagate succulents? How would I do it? This is the easiest way that I would say to do it. Most of them you can literally just kind of pluck a leaf off. After a while, they'll kind of grow their own roots and even sprout their own succulent. from that little plucking, I guess you could call it. What we like to do is we like to let them callus for a couple days, so you're not putting just the fresh stub into soil, but rather you let it kind of sit on the top of the soil, which is actually how they've evolved, how it would happen in nature. They will start forming their own roots and find some water. So let's jump. See, and even in here they have like styling tips. So they say, because most cactus grow upward, the plant and pot is very much exposed. This calls for creative pots that fit your interior style. You can paint some simple terracotta pots, buy some funky pots in a shop, or make something yourself. Just make sure they have appropriate drainage because you don't want to kill your spiky friends. Love it. Jump through a little more. Another one of the DIY projects that they were talking about is actually making your own plant stands. I have a million sticky notes because it's giving me a million ideas. Here's another one, plant deep dive, or plant portrait they call it, of Ficus elastica. So it'll go into the history of it, came from Northeast India, Nepal, China. In its natural habitat, it can grow up to 30 meters tall, which is like But I bookmarked this page because I really liked this idea that they used. They have kind of like a triangular ladder sort of thing, and they used a bunch of different plants on it and smaller stuff, and then a nice Ficus elastica in the back to kind of add some height and depth to it. I love this idea. This is just some normal terracotta pots, but with these bright colored plant stands. I don't know where you get these, but you know, maybe even like a thrift market or something like that. Just add some color and life and energy to the plants, which already have a good bit of energy to add to your space themselves. So this is from the cover of the book. I love this picture. They really, at the end of the book, do a good job of helping you start and choose plants for your house, and how to create your own urban jungle. You know, give you a couple beginner suggestions if you're just starting out. They start with the peace lily, devil's ivy, or pothos. Also, I think philodendron is a good move. I think that's actually a philodendron. So we need to put an edit in here. Snake plants, spider plants, we have a couple of those, and aloe vera are, you know, all plants that are pretty easy to start out with and will be impactful at adding some green to your space. And then in the back, both books have a little contribution page where they talk about who is featured in this book and maybe some of their favorite quotes, stuff like that. An Instagram page if you want to check them out. Okay, so that'll do it for the urban jungle. And let's get moving to wild interiors. Okay, so first off, before I dive into this book, I just want to note the cover art. I love it. I would buy a large painting for my house if I could of it. And I think, this is my theory, that one of the artists in here actually does this artwork. It was a little less about, you know, the individual plants and more about the design ethos of the people in it. But here you'll see, this is Hilton Carter. I follow him on Instagram and YouTube, and he's got a way of just like soothing you and telling you about plants and helping you kind of feel empowered that like you're learning all the right things by watching him, watching us, watching me, you know, and feeling like he's giving you the tools to make it happen. Speaking of tools, I think I need one of these aprons. What do you think? Get real official with it? So the first couple pages, he talks about his journey with plants and why he's doing what he's doing. And one of them is the Conservatory of Flowers in San Francisco. So I think it would be doing me a disservice to my whole community here to not do a little walkthrough there. So look for that in one of the future videos, and come join me for the adventure. I thought this was an interesting kind of list that he created. It was plants to envy, or the top 10 next it plants. So he was kind of calling out, forecasting what the plant world is going to be seeing. So obviously we know the fiddle leaf fig is everywhere, but the top 10 are watermelon begonia, crocodile fern, which I absolutely love. I think if I saw one in a plant shop or at the SF flower market, I would not think twice about buying it because they're like awesome and prehistoric and just really cool. But each one of these, he's going to give you a little, care and background to it. Next is the Calathea orbifolia. Got the fan palm, which I think there's a picture of it later in the book, but also really impactful, big green palm fronds, and they're great plants. Ficus audrey. What they're saying here is it's the next fiddle leaf fig, so we'll see if that actually happened. The apple cactus, the burro's tail, the council tree. We have an Aurelia here, and the Mexican tree fern, which I really love. They can get huge outside, and they have that prehistoric look. There's a bunch of them all over Golden Gate Park, and they are great as smaller plants, but I think to get that fern look from something tall is pretty unique. So if you're looking for a plant for your backyard, Mexican tree fern. And then the next big chunk of the book is about, the actual person whose home it is. So this is Alina Fasakova in Brooklyn, New York. Gives you some fun info about her. And like I was mentioning earlier, here's the paintings. And then here's some shots from in her house. You can see just green all over the place, different varieties, stuff like that, and really has that impactful feeling of green that gives you some energy in the space. Okay, here we are. This is the first one I knew I had to mark. So this is basically, I think, her desk area, and she's got almost like a wall of plants behind her computer. So it's a room separator a little bit, but it also gives you a nice backdrop, and the technology and the plants together actually seems to work well because you have a more minimal desk setup, and the plants really soften this setup. I would love to work here. If I could just have a million plants right here in front of me. Jumping to the next one. This is the home of Sophie Vertongen and Yannick Denif. This is in Belgium. And initially what grabbed me, the plants, yes, they're all over, but this wicker chair is, life goals right here. Here's the chair again, and you can see plants kind of scattered all around the home. If you don't have a lot of space for the bigger plants, you can put a bunch of smaller ones all over the place and still add that green effect. Oh, here's the fan palm I was talking about earlier. You can see a smaller picture of it, but it really adds that big green leafy look to any space. Next one I bookmarked. This is the home of Marissa McInturf, Marissa McInturf, and Kuro Bernabeu in Barcelona. So I bookmarked this one because I love the Hoya here that's kind of potted at the bottom of the stairs, and then they let it vine around and up, and it's kind of creating a green railing on the stairs. So, and then at the bottom of the stairs, they're actually using the space underneath the stairs as a grouping and kind of like a Zen plant corner, where otherwise, what are you going to do with that space under the stairs? So that's a good one. And this one also goes into, room by room, maybe some suggestions of types of plants you should look into for your entryway. They're saying a snake plant, a ZZ plant, a corn plant or Dracaena, a rubber plant, or a Dieffenbachia. And I think they chose these ones because they're all fairly upright. In the bathrooms, specifically what they're talking about here, It's plants that like a lot of humidity. So there's air plants, definitely, and ferns. The plants will actually get some extra humidity from when you take a shower, and you might not even have to water something like an air plant in a bathroom. It might get all the humidity it needs. And there you go, just plants all over, all sorts of types of plants. And then here again, you've got the credits. So I think that'll do it for this book. There's Hilton Carter again for you, and hope that was helpful. Now, if you liked any of this, definitely drop some fertilizer on that like button, because I would love to do some more of this type of stuff. I love getting these books, looking through them, getting inspiration. So if you have a book in specific you're thinking about, let me know. Maybe I can go out and buy it and do a little review for you. But otherwise, definitely subscribe for more, because hopefully I can use some of this in my future designs and show you how to make some of this magic happen. That'll do it for today. Happy 2021, everyone. Go out, get some ideas. You are all plant heroes. I believe in you. Until next time, later. And in the Urban Jungle book, Urban Jungle book. It's a little cold now.